Hi, welcome everyone to Live Coding Happy Hour. So if you are new to our show, this is our show that is not meant to be polished. It's not meant to be scripted. It's all about us just trying to get something done in ServiceNow. So welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour is brought to you by the ServiceNow Developer Program. We unwind at the end of the long work week, and I've definitely had a long work week this week. So we drink, we try to build something new, and we just try to show you the real development process. We try to show you the errors along the way, all the debugging that comes with being a real developer, and all that stuff that comes with our actual jobs. We are in the middle of our Utah release content. So if Pranav can point over his shoulder to the logo, yep, there he goes. That if you see that logo in the top corner, that means we are in the Utah release. And so now you can kind of visually see all the different content that we are doing for Utah. And on top of that, if you go to devlink.sn/Utah, you will see all the stuff that we've been doing for the Utah release. And it's a lot. We've been doing this for weeks now, and we're getting to the tail end. We only have a couple more weeks of content for Utah specifically before we start unwinding or winding down from the Utah content that we have planned. Be sure to check that out, though. And then before we jump into our content, let's do some introductions. First off, hi, everyone. My name is Earl Duque. I am a developer advocate here at ServiceNow. But before ServiceNow, I was in higher ed and jumping around a bunch of customers. I did ServiceNow work for 3 different customers since 2017 before I joined ServiceNow in 2021, I think. I'm about to hit 2 years. I think that's what it is. Pranav, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is Pranav. I'm a senior developer advocate here at ServiceNow. I can't say I'm new to ServiceNow now. It's like already been 4 months. Before joining ServiceNow, I was working with a customer and was helping them with implementation. And before that, I was working with different clients and help them with providing them with the consulting. That's about me. I'll pass it to Loic.
Hey everybody, really excited to be there. My name is Loic Sanchez. I'm an outbound product manager on the platform AI team at ServiceNow. I've been in that role for about a year. And before that, I was in the expert services. So as a ServiceNow developer for our customers, also at ServiceNow. And I also, maybe you know me from the AI Academy show that I host on the ServiceNow community, where we talk about all the AI products that we have on the platform.
And there is a link in the description to that academy that Loic is just talking about right now. So make sure to check out that description. If you've been waiting for the show to start for a while, make sure you can refresh the page and you'll see the link is there. I just added that link to the description. So if you're watching live, make sure to refresh. You'll see it now. But register for the academy and make sure to watch it. And thanks for joining us, Loic. Okay, so it's live coding happy hour. That means we have drinks. I usually prepare some like spirit or some cocktail or something like that. Today I'm just drinking a salted caramel espresso, mostly because I've only had 2 hours of sleep. So I need to drink coffee some more before I completely just zone out. So I'm drinking coffee today. I don't have alcohol. Apologize to the audience who's usually wanting to see what kind of like whiskey or bourbon I'm drinking. But coffee, thank you. Pranav, what do you got?
So I already had like 5, 6 cups of coffee today, and it's like 12 a.m. So I'll just drink water. That's all. Perfect water. Loic.
I have that Athletic Light beer. It's actually non-alcoholic from the Athletic Brewery. That they do very good non-alcoholic beer, so should be pretty good.
Okay, live coding sober hour. Let's go. um, it happens. Like that's the reality of all of us getting really, really busy with work, and Pranav being at midnight. So thanks for staying up late for us, Pranav. That's a good shout out too. Like if you pay attention to the content calendar, we have shows happening also all over the time zones now. So some of them are at this time, some of them are at 1 a.m. for me. So just pay attention to that calendar, and you might have some friendly time zones for you to tune into these shows now. And then so that's our drinks, that's our introductions. I'm going to pass it off to Pranav so that we can start diving into the topic of the hour, and I'll let Pranav introduce it.
All right, folks. So today's topic is on document intelligence. So I think you folks have heard about document intelligence in tech now also. So it is a human-assisted parsing system for your documents, right? You can utilize doc intelligence to parse all kind of documents. It can be contract notes that are there. It can be medical receipts. It can be passports that you saw earlier, and somebody mentioned in the comments that do we are ready with passport, so no more passport for this time. So today I'll tell you about like what's the use case. So it's kind of a story. Last week I went to a nutritionist to get my diet plan. So I thought like let's they provided me a receipt or something like to enter what kind if I have any kind of disease or something like that. So I got an idea like why not I pass that document and upload and we just see how we can pass that thing and store in service now. So that's the thing. Let me share my screen now and show you what kind of document I'm talking about. So let me know if you're able to see this thing. So this is kind of a patient info. This is like not the real info. This is just like some dummy data that is there. So you can see a lot of check boxes and some fields and all. So we have these three lists that is there. So what I'm going to do is like we're going to parse the data from these docs. So that's the whole idea. And let me go ahead and start with the first thing. So now what you're seeing is the new experience that just came in Utah. So this is our new Doc Intel experience. If you have seen the old episode that Lauren, Earl, and Chuck did in the past, so that had a different experience. So this is our new experience that we're going to utilize. So first thing is like when we have the document intelligence, we go to the home page and you can see like there are steps, right? Like set up a use case, involve agents, monitor over time. So personally, I haven't played much with the experience, so I may make mistakes. So I apologize in advance, but hey, it's a live coding happy hour. So we make mistakes here. So, all right. So first thing that we have to do is like, if I read it here, it's like to set up a use case. So you can see like we have a use case tab here. Let's go ahead and create our use case all together. So I'm gonna just create a use case. I'm gonna say like, okay, patient info. And I also created a table that is like a patient info table to store our data. So I'm gonna just put it here so you can see this is our table. So basically, this is the name of our use case, and this is a location where the data will be present. So that's there. So now you can see, right, there is a extraction mode set by default. So it's the recommended mode is set by default, but there is another mode that's called as autofill that's there. So that comes into picture when we have something like we have some data already collected. So that's once we have some data that's passed by the AI, so then we use the autofill. By default, ServiceNow just puts like recommended mode here. Let me just save this thing up. So let it load. Now we have this patient info that's created. Now we have to define some fields. That is our first thing. So when I talk about field, if you see on the screen, it can be full name. age, do you have diabetes, high cholesterol, height, weight, whatsoever. These are the fields that are there. So let's create a couple of them. And I want to talk about the main highlight of Utah. Like now you can extract checkbox information from the documents that are there. So we have a couple of checkboxes. So let's see if our application will be able to pass these things up. So let's go ahead and create like few fields. First thing, I'm gonna create full name. That's there. It will be a text field, and I can just say I can keep it empty for now, but I can I might have name, yeah, in the table. So this field is coming from the target table that we configured during the use case. That's there. I'm gonna add this thing up.
Hey Pranav, before we move forward, how did what what did you do to learn how to get all this started? Like, what did you go through just the docs, or where did you get a resource from somewhere?
To be honest, like this application is so easy. Like I didn't had to go to any docs. I just came into doc intelligence, and I was like, I came to homepage, and I can just show it again.
Okay,
Let
so
me
it's just
go
it
into
you just relied on the actual UI's training to get you through it. Okay, that's cool.
exactly. You can see this
Okay,
one.
yeah, cool. All right.
How simple it is. And let me just go back to our homepage, and I'm gonna go to the use case.
I thought you would say the AI Academy, but
the, the AI Academy, that is something I have to watch, to be honest. But I think I'm gonna watch it and maybe join next time.
That
So
wasn't planned, by the way. I was just legitimately asking. My bad. Okay, go ahead, Pranav. Sorry.
all right. So we have the full name that's there. And now what we're gonna do is like I'm gonna create a group of fields. Like if you see this thing, right? Please provide information about your medical history. So I can say these are group of field, like group of checkboxes. So let's go ahead and create a group. So I think you can see like it's assigned to a field group option is there. So field group is something like a collection of similar kind of fields that we can put it there. So what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna create a new one field group. I can say med history, and it is a checkbox that's there. And let me add this thing up. So now once I added this thing, so you can see it shows up, and I can say diabetes. Like I'm just gonna say this thing, and I'm gonna add a field. Similarly, I can say for cardiovascular disease, so I can put it a new field there also.
so while you have that screen up, I do want to mention that checkbox on the screen that says define multiple fields. It's pretty convenient where you create multiple fields in a row, and the so that the pop-up doesn't close, and you can create your second field without having to save a click, basically.
Yeah, I think thanks, Loic, for mentioning it. That's why you have to watch the AI Academy, right? So that you don't miss these kind of things. All right, I'm gonna add this field. So I'll just say two fields, that's all. And now you can see right now I haven't written a single line of code. So that's how easy it is. Anyone can do it. So let's see the document task. So the next tab, that is the document task. This is a place where you upload the actual document that you want to parse and store into the table. And before I go into this, I'm going to go to the integration tab. So now, once you parse a document, so it goes into the like this field value table that's there. So I want to go ahead and store this thing in our patient info table. So I want to create a record there, right? So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to set up the integration first. Let me go ahead and just click on setup, and I can say like process process our process doc. I'm really bad at names, so apologies on that.
I mean,
I
at least you're naming them accurate things. I think the last time I was running things, I was naming things based off of what people were chatting about in the chat. So it got really weird really fast. So this is an improvement.
yeah, so let's see this thing. So now if you see the use case is automatically populated, and where do you want to store the document? So it's the patient info. Now you can see two options, what type of integration you want to set up. So we have the process task and we have the extract values. So when I was looking into it, so I clicked on this I button and I was like, process task is something like it automatically creates a process extracted as based on specific condition on the target table. So I think if there is certain thing that change on the target table, we need to use this. And the extract value is something like as soon as like the document is processed, like the fields will be automatically populated there. So for this particular demo, I think I'm going to use extract values because there is nothing like any kind of I don't have any trigger condition or anything. And you can see there is an option of create flow here. So if I click on save, so it might take some time to show up, or maybe I need to refresh it. So when we refresh this thing up, so there will be a flow that will be coming up. So like the system will automatically create the flow in the backend. And you can see that there is a flow that's created, and only thing that you have to be sure is like the flow is not active by default. Like you have to activate the flow. And why it's not active, because if you want to add any kind of logic or anything to it, you can add the logic. So right now you can see like it says retry value, extracted values, and then the set value. So I am like not sure about like how set extracted value works, but from the name I think it's setting value to the our target table. That's what I feel. But yeah,
This is
let's.
one of the first times I've seen flows being created with triggers and actions not from within Flow Designer automatically. Like most of the time, you have to be in Flow Designer to start those things up, but this looks like Doc Intel is actually establishing a template for you, which is actually newer than I've seen.
Yes, and this is something that's part of the new Utah release. This is the new admin experience that's letting us create. Initially, like we had to, as you mentioned earlier, we have to go to the flow designers and create it. And but now it's there, and you don't even have to go to the AES to create it. So you can create everything from the experience itself. So yeah, so our flow is active. To be honest, I'm not sure like whether it will just populate the data. We'll see. But that's how we have set up the flow. And let's go to the document task altogether. So this is the main place where the extract, like where the AI model will extract data from our like from our documents. So let's see. So I'm gonna save patient one. So that's there. And I'm gonna add something like ta-da-da, like I have this thing. So I have the person named Steve for which I have put the data. And as soon as I click add extraction, so it will go ahead and start the extraction. And now when I click on the display name that's there, so it opens a pop-up which says open in document intelligence. So when I click on it, it takes us to a UI where you can see the actual parsing that's there. So it's not something that's instant, like you upload it and it goes ahead and it will just parse it. It will take some time for the AI model to look into the document and get the data out of it. So till the time it's doing it, I think it takes a couple of minutes based on like what I have been playing around. And so till the time the AI model is finding the details from it, what I can do is like I can explain you what we have on the right hand side. So if you can see on the right hand side, we have something like all the fields. So you have see the full name is there, and we have a group of field like diabetes and cardiovascular disease that's there. And on the second tab, it's saying to complete. Like what it means is like we haven't put the information here. So that's why it's saying like it's incomplete, like we have to complete it, and zero completed. That's there. And there is something like flag and missing. So I think flag is something like you can flag a particular field if you want to review it later. And the missing one is something if there's a field that the AI is not able to find, you can mark it as missing. So these are some of the things. And you can click on the refresh button on top and you can see the suggestions are already available now. So now what I have to do is like, you can see the full name. So I just have to type it, Steve, and you can see like the AI is able to find Steve. And you can see like the 0% on the right hand side. That means like why it's 0%, because this is our first document that we are parsing. As we add more documents, as we train the model, the percentage will increase. That's there. So I'm going to put Steve. And for the mid history, as it's a checkbox, right? So as soon as I click on it, you see like the AI model is able to find like these are the three check boxes. And this is something, a new feature that we added in Utah for Doc Intel. So now if I click on this thing, you can see it got automatically checked. And similarly, it's able to find this one, cardiovascular. So both are checked. So that's there. I haven't added this one. It will be in the other docs that I have. So you can see now all our three fields are completed. And as soon as I submit it, so if we have configured everything, we should see some data here in this table. And let's see. Okay. So let's now the actual fun starts. What we have to look into the flows and everything, why the data didn't came. So first thing that I can go ahead and see is like it's the actual document task. So you can see that this is the actual document task that's there. And you can see the status of this task is done. Let me go ahead and open this document task. So I can just go on the application navigator and I can find the latest P1 document task that's there. Let me, yeah. So you can see that the status is done. We don't see any kind of error messages or anything that's coming up. And
Aw.
we have all the things that are here, right? So I feel like the document task has all the information, but the issue might be with the flow. So the flow is active. Let's see if there are any executions on the flow. Yeah. So there are no execution and all in the flow. That means the flow never got triggered. So now what we have to do is like we have to look into the flow triggers and actions, what is happening there. So let's see what's happening. So
Was
trigger is
that
update.
was that
Mhm.
error or like the not no flows was that planned, or was that like we're actually debugging it now?
To be honest, we are debugging it.
All right,
I
we're supposed
didn't.
to drink whenever we hit an actual error and stuff like that. Everyone.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right, cool. Just making sure because I was like, you smoothly transitioned in and out of that. I was like, was that planned? I can't tell. Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Actually, I never thought like will be the flow designer will cause issue. I was thinking like the parsing might have some kind of a bug that we have to debug, but flow, yeah. So let's look into like the document task is there and the flow is having like status changes to done and source table is this. That's there. And I think, yeah, you can see, right? Uh, the source table is not getting populated. And that's something like it, we have already provided the flow table in the use case and it it should have taken it from there. So let me see if we can change some of the settings. So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to go into the use case and see if there is any kind of a setting that we need to tick so that the source field get passed there. And I don't see any kind of field or extraction mode that is there. Okay. And because source table should have been parsed from here. And yeah, so what I can do is for now, I can remove this condition And as soon as the status changes to done, it should like retrieve the values from our document that's there, and it should set it. So let's see in the set value. So in the set value, we have the extracted values that's there. We have the document task that's there. And okay, so now we don't even have the target record. So again, I think it will fail. So what I can do is for now is I can do like create record. So I won't use the set extracted value because it's asking for the target record. And in our document, we don't have a target record. To be honest, I need to look into this set extracted value, what it's doing. But for now, I can use a create record thing. So
Loic, any insight?
Yeah, I was gonna give you a little hint there. So when you were setting your integrations, as you mentioned, there were two different types. There's a process task and an extract value. If you look at the process task, what we're doing in that one is actually creating a document task from your patient
Oh,
table. So when you do that, you actually have a reference on your document task that link to your patient table. And that way, when you do the extraction, then it knows where to put the values.
gotcha. So I think so when I was just creating the integration, instead of like using the extract value, I should use the process task.
So
That's
you
there.
need both. You need one when it's like an inbound action, and the other one is like extraction is like
Oh,
outbound.
perfect. Got it. So folks who are watching, don't make the mistake that I did. Go ahead and watch the AI Academy. So you will find.
How
Okay,
many times are we
and
going to
I
show this banner during this stream?
will happen a lot. All right, so I think like let's say process two, really bad in names. So this is there, and I think we have to create a new flow altogether for it, and I don't have to edit it then. I hope I didn't save it.
I don't think I saw you press save.
Okay, perfect. Then okay, cool. So let's see, process two is there, and the flow is created. Let me open the flow.
Process 2. Process 2 final. This is the one. Part 3.
Process final V3 final V3.
This is the one. Click this one.
That's there. And let's see. So I think now it will be more of like a created action. Yeah, that's there. So the patient information is created, but that's what I'm seeing. Like it's saying that patient information created. That's the trigger. But our patient information is not created as of now. So I think it will get started once there's a record that's created in our patient info table. But we have to go ahead and create the record first, right? So let's see. I think create record, create a task that's there, and patient record is created. Create, that's what I'm seeing. So we have the create task that's there, which is like has a display name of process two. Task definition is there, source record, and all. Okay. And then what is it's doing is like it's doing process task. And so like I thought of like asking you this thing. Like as I have created a process to this thing. So it's saying that if the record is created in the patient info, then it will trigger, right? So do I need to create a new flow to create the record first in the patient info table?
No, so you're gonna create your patient. You can create a new record in the patient info table, and you're gonna put the
Mm-hmm.
attachment on that record instead of doing it in the
Oh,
document task.
okay. Got it. Perfect. Oh, this is there. Let me go ahead and activate it then. So I see now. So we don't even have to go to the admin console to do it. It's more of like if I create a patient record and I can just attach our this particular patient info, it will automatically pass that thing up and store in the relevant fields.
Yeah, the
That's
great thing about that is that then you can use a record producer or any of the now platform ways to create record to get to document intelligence, which is the beauty of it.
Loic, is this a good
exactly.
data point for you for like, oh, this is how someone that's using this for the first time would actually be struggling with it?
That's actually really good. I think it's was without reading any documentation, we kind of went pretty far.
That before this call, we were talking and joking about how the show is unpredictable and how far we can get. And the Loic points out that if you can get to a certain point without any documentation and without any like pre-prepared research or anything like that, and then that shows intuitiveness to your product. And this is a good data point for Loic, hopefully. But I was alluding to a past live coding happy hour where I think it was myself, Paige Duffy, and Andrew Barnes, where we were. I dove into a product for the first time without having, with all of my hopes and goals of, I, I'm fairly good at this stuff. I think I can figure this all stuff. Like by the end of the entire hour, I made one button, and that's all I was able to do. So this is more celebrating document intelligence for being more intuitive than what we've seen in the past. So this is great. Good job to your team, Loic.
I mean, there's new admin experiences that we see across products. They're really helpful to get started without having to watch too many AI academies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like to be honest, I have just played around with doc intelligence for like 2 or 3 hours. That's all, and it's so easy. Like you don't even have to read anything. You just play around with it, and it does the job. But again, yeah, if you don't want to make these mistakes, you should check out AI Academy. So, all right. So let's get back here. So we have both the flows, the process docs and the process two. So funny names, but now what I'm going to do is like I'm going to go into our patient, this patient info that's there. This is our new record, and I'm going to attach the thing like I'm going to do something on the desktop that's there. We do Olive. So I have done that. Now when I submit it, so let's go to the flow designer and see if our process 2 got triggered. So it got triggered. And I am not sure how much time it will take, but based on the document, initial document, I think it might take another 5 minutes. So Loic, before like, is
Yeah.
there any way to debug it? Like where is our document and all?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to get a bit technical, I can show you how to see what's happening. So you'll
Yes.
go to the navigation and you're going to type ml_solution.list.
Solution or solutions.
Solution, yeah. And you want to order them by date, like created or something.
Okay. Created. So this is the one and waiting for training.
There you
I think
go.
this is the one.
Yeah, so every time you create a new document task, there are a few ML solutions that are triggered. The first one is a parsing, so it's going to be either a PDF processing or an OCR processing, depending on the type of input, whether it's an image or a PDF. So that's the first ML solution record that you're going to see on that list. And once that one is done, then you're going to see the one that says the prediction one. So the one that says fetching files for training right now, it's the one that's running. And that's what's going to make the prediction on which fields on your document and which level of confidence we have.
And I think like the use case that we selected was the recommendation one. It's not autofill. So I think like even before the data is created in our if before it gets filled into our patient info table, agent has to manually intervene and like map the field. Am I right with it?
Yeah, that's what the recommendation type is doing. And I think you explained it very well at the beginning. You said once you processed a few documents, then you can switch to autofill, and then if the value is confident enough, the agent doesn't even have to start typing. The value is already going to be there.
That's after, like, we always say 10 documents, right? I think is what we always say.
Yeah, that's like a general guideline would be to have 10 of the same documents. It can depend. It's going to depend like number of fields and quality of the document and that type of thing.
Gotcha. And I think like as soon as the processing is successful there, we are able to see the process to record that's created, and you can see like it just opened up, and maybe if I type olive, that's coming up. For diabetic, like it's showing like let's see if we have show all checkboxes. Okay, so it's showing all checkboxes. So cardiovascular, it's no, so we can keep it like this. And for this one,
does it
like,
understand that there's two checkboxes? Because usually, I mean, the not checked box usually means no. But it understands that this field has two choices instead of it being a checkbox.
So
technically this is a multiple choice then, right?
Yeah, so I think I played around with this thing, and what's happening is like we are having two checkboxes. That's why yes and no, that's there. So I was not able to figure out like if it's able to parse, like it's able to detect if it's an empty one, right? So maybe Loic, if you have any insight on it, you can share.
No, yeah, I think Earl was right. Yes and no. Obviously, it's a binary choice. You don't really need to have two, but those cases where you have like a group of 5 or 6 different checkboxes, then you can select them as a like it could be an unknown. There's an unknown number of boxes that are going to be checked, and that's where you do your selection.
Oh, okay. Yep. So, like for this particular thing, like it's saying no, that's there, and I think like we have to we might need to have a yes and no field there also. Like if it's diabetes, we have to have like yes or no, or that's something we have to create, right? And I think we have added the yes, but yeah, it's saying no. So I think like the field in here in the fields, so I just have one diabetes. Like I think I need to create another checkbox like of no, or maybe like that's so that I can capture the response of no from here, and then in our flow itself we can do some parsing and make sure that we are selecting the right thing. Is it how we should proceed, Loic, on this thing?
Yeah, one option that we could have done here is diabetes is actually your group, and then the values are yes and then no. So you would have two
Oh,
fields, one field yes and one field is no. And these two fields are part of a group that you call diabetes.
got it. Yeah, and I think I showed like when I was creating the group. So if you can click on the new field and you can just have a group. That's a group that you can create and just put a checkbox list. And again, you click on the define multiple field, and which I learned during this session itself. You have the yes, you put it as checkbox, and you put like diabetes, that's there, and you add a field. Then you say no, and you assign it to like sorry, you have assign it to this, and you just click on add. So I think we have now two fields that are added, yes and no, and these are in group. So I think I can go from here and use another one, olive to. So this is the same document I'm just trying to upload again.
Olive to final.
Olive to final. Yeah. And I think this is the one that I just created. And olive.
Olive to final.
Final, 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 final. Let's see. Now let's click on it. Open in doc until I can wait. And so again, it might take 2 minutes or so. Olive to final.
Loic is like, what are these clowns doing?
Loic is completely having fun, like
Yeah,
seeing
it's
me
so
struggle.
fun.
I mean, the goal of this episode specifically was to call out some of the new Utah features, which we did. So that's a good thing that's going on with this. But I mean, the rest of it is actually on point for us. It's just us trying to figure out how to get things to work when we have very little to no knowledge. The hard part is, or I mean, not the hard part for everyone else. The easy part for us is we have someone like Loic on stream with us to actually help us through those kind of struggles. But these are the kind of things that. While we wait is a good thing to say. Like we are open to these kind of communications. Like if you get hung up on something, you can either jump into the community or message one of us. We'll try to provide contact details if we want. Loic doesn't have to if he doesn't want to at the end. But if you send a question to any of us on the dev program team, even if we don't necessarily know the answer, we can find the person that does know the answer. And so communicate with us. Don't bash your head against the wall for too long before you start trying to ask for help. And we'll try to figure that out stuff for everyone. That's what we're here for, right?
Exactly. And our document is also parsed. Like I think I have clicked this button at least 20 times now. I was thinking like there will be alert coming up, please stop. But that's fine. Anyway, so let's see now. We have the olive that's there. And for the diabetes, like let's see for this one, we will show all that's there. So as you see that now we have the group one. So for this use case, we are saying no, that's there. And let's see, we have the med history. So I'm gonna say it's a good time to say like, okay, these are no match found and no match found. I'm just marking it because we already have uh, a group that's created. That's there. And we have the no that's there. And we have something like show all. And we have to just say it's there and no, and just say no match. Or I think it's there, but it's checked. Let me just say no match. Okay, I think that's there. So we have everything that's coming up, only one field there is one more field to complete. That's a yes because I didn't mark it because we already have a no one. So let's go ahead and submit it. Submit anyway. All changes are saved. And if I go back to the document task, the olive file to final will have the information that's there. Let's wait for it to open up. So you can see, right, we have the group that's there, which have all the fields and everything. You can see for the no one, we have the no. For the yes, it's empty, that's there. So I think uh, that's there. We are able to parse it and like, so I'll just quickly recap what we did so that it's easy for everyone to understand, because we did a lot of steps in the middle. So first thing is to create a use case that we created. That's the where you will start. Once you start the use case, then you define your fields, like what fields you want to parse from the document, right? In my case, it was full name, diabetes, all these things that were there. And then we have something like document task. This is a place where you actually upload the document to see the parsing and all. And the last tab is the integration. So what integration is doing is like, as soon as you create a new record in your target table with the particular attachment, the flow will trigger. It will do it will run the model, and it will go. We have to come up back to our document task to like map the particular fields, and then we have to process it, right? So that's the whole process of document intelligence. And I think those of you who are watching it, like you might have seen like how easy it is to utilize document intelligence in ServiceNow. So I think that's all I wanted to show. And I'm gonna
Okay, so as we round out, Lisa in the chat wants to say make sure to help us help the program product managers create enablement content that is helpful to you. If you find in the docs that it's not helpful enough, or you want an academy session on a topic that hasn't been covered well, tell them. And I mean, they want to create this content for you, so do that. Check out our partner channel, which is community YouTube community on YouTube, the ServiceNow community channel, and that's where all the academies appear after the fact. But also check out any of the registration links, because they want you to register at the academy portal so that they know who's coming, who to expect, kind of that thing. Get registration numbers, all that stuff. So join those academies, tell them like, hey, cover this next, and they listen to that stuff, and they churn these academies out. So pay attention to those. Past that, as we thank you, Pranav, for diving into document intelligence for us. Loic, thank you for joining us and being the expert and helping us through some of those roadblocks. A few announcements. There, it is knowledge season, so check out knowledge.servicenow.com. It is all in one location again. Huge conference for ServiceNow once a year, all in Las Vegas in the month of May. If you're interested in any of our shows, make sure to go to the developer.servicenow.com, and you'll see all the stuff that's going on there. Get your own instance to play with for ServiceNow. Go to devlink.sn/Utah to find our dev blog, which has all of our Utah content, including this episode. If you want to know all the other kinds of things that we do within the dev program, it's devlink.sn/links. So just go to that and you'll see all our shows. If you haven't yet and you're somehow on this stream without actually being a subscriber, make sure to subscribe and like the video, so that helps a lot too. The hackathon website has launched as of yesterday. So hackathon is returning. We didn't have a hackathon last year at Knowledge, but this year we have it, and we're making it a lot more friendly to our developers and creators. And so check that out. It's a little bit different than we've ever done before. They mistakenly gave me the keys to run the hackathon, so I went wild with it. And so join us for hackathon at Knowledge. And Loic, did you have any announcements? I'm going to guess you're going to say make sure to check out the academy in the description. But if you have any other announcements, feel free.
No, everything you said, I want to echo that. The academies are on YouTube, and you can watch them on YouTube. That's great. If you join live, then you can ask your questions, and that's even better. If you join live, at the end you get a little survey. It takes 2 minutes. I read every single comments on that so that I can make it better, and then I can improve the product. So it's not for nothing that we ask for feedback. So really, I encourage you to do that if you want. If you want to reach out, I'm on the AI and intelligence community forum. Every question on document intelligence, I'm going to reply to that. So it's the fastest way to get an answer and then share with the rest of the community.
Awesome. Pranav, do you have anything you want to announce?
Yeah, I'll just like to announce the first inaugural episode on RPA, like Asia APJ friendly hours, will come next week on Friday. So make sure you check that out. And thank you for coming and see me struggle with document intelligence.
Awesome. All right, everyone. I hope you all have a good weekend. Tune in next week. Remember, check the time. It's about 12 hours earlier next week for different time zone friendliness. But thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Final bye.
Final. Bye. Final.